Hey students, quick intro video about our course, and yes to the Mando things behind me. If you're wondering, that is a small Star Wars piece too. Just a small Star Wars fan here, in case you needed to know. What I'm going to do is share my screen real quick, kind of walk you through a few pieces about our course. So what you'll see when you come in, this is the home screen. I've put a few links. I try to not do it too big on the homepage because I know most of the time when you log in, you just want to get where you're going. But there's a Let's Get Started that takes you right into Module 0, the Zoom link where I'll be doing office hours as well as doing these recordings. And the goal of that is to kind of say, hey, if you want to jump in one of the nights when I'm doing a recording, jump on in, ask some questions. We can kind of make it about whatever you're struggling with or whatever you want more examples about. Also putting here a link for the STEM Learning Centers. So I'm going to open that one up in a new tab for you. That's where you can go. They open Monday, the 22nd through Thursday, December 15th. And there's a quick little button to open and enter the online STEMLC. Again, this is a fully online class. Although if you want, you can show up on campus. I'll be on campus every day, and you're welcome to stop by and talk to me there if you prefer. There is a drop-in schedule by course that you can click on, as well as a drop-off a question in a Canvas course for after hours. You do not need to make an appointment. As a matter of fact, drop-ins are usually the quickest thing for almost everybody, especially for a class like trigonometry. You should have like maybe a minute of wait time. So if it's even late at night, we're open till 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday. That's huge. So pop in, make sure you have a chance to get the help that you need. We will have some appointments available if you feel like you need to schedule an appointment. But again, most of the time students just drop in because you don't need to have an appointment, and you actually get the same exact amount of time most of the time for answering your questions as you do with an appointment. So I strongly recommend that. Get used to that. Oh, excuse me. A couple other pieces here. I put our main visualization tools. If you haven't used them before, Desmos is fantastic. They have a graphing calculator option where you could graph something like f of x equals cosine of x. You immediately get a nice graph on here. You can use the function to say, what is pi over 6? So now I can see that cosine of pi over 6 is this value, which is great. I could change that to say, what is pi over 3? And it'll tell me 0.5. And there's even a button here that if I prefer, I can turn that back into a fraction form. So these tools they're just extremely helpful for what we're doing. And pi over 2 is 0. So you can also click on a point and kind of drag it and see the input and output coordinates for anything that you might be doing. I hope you'll get used to something like this. The tools are fantastic. And yes, as we go through the course, we'll even do things like we'll add sliders, and we'll kind of be able to see, well, maybe I'll put an A out here. I'll put a B here. I'll put a C here. I'll put a D here. I can add all of these sliders and just kind of fool around them, kind of see what happens to the graph when I adjust the coefficient out in front. I can't tell you how long this would take if we were doing this by hand. Seriously, you'd have to redraw every single one of these. That's how I had to do it when I was taking math. And if anything makes you not want to do math, it's redrawing things repeatedly. What else can you do? Well, you can take this and adjust it. So one of them is adjusting the kind of the stretch factor horizontally. The other one's adjusting the stretch factor vertically. And then you have these beautiful shifting left and right, and then shifting up and down. There's a lot going on in there. And all of these pieces come back from what you've learned in Math 126, Pre-Calculus 1. Those are the function transformations that you've done with any function. So just because it says cosine in here, you shouldn't be really all that shocked if someone changed this and said, instead of that, why don't we make it an x cubed function? And all of a sudden you're realizing, oh, some vertical stretch factors, Horizontal stretch factors. Aha. Shifting left and right, shifting up and down. It didn't change anything. Math didn't change. So anyway, those are some of the cool tools that we'll be using this term. The other one is GeoGebra. If you haven't used GeoGebra, it's a very similar type of thing. Graphing Calculator Suite. It does have a few other options for embedding directly into Canvas pages, which I think is very helpful if you want to kind of see how things are made to work. But again, we could type in here y equals cosine of x, and it's going to graph it for me. It's going to give me critical points. It's going to tell me things about those points. That's an extremum. That means it's a local maximum or minimum. And I can click over here. I have another extremum. Notice it occurs at 3.14159265353. Oh, pi. So we're going to see a lot of fun tools like this. I think they're fun because they allow you to do a lot more with mathematics than just look at something and have to memorize it. Okay, so those are the tools we're going to use. Let's see, what else? Right up on front, when you come in, you'll see this intro video. It'll be right there, but for now, it looks like a very cool graphic. Soon it will be a very cool video, the one that I'm making right now. What you'll see on the top is you will see my announcements. The last 2 announcements I'll have show up right on the top there. After that, module-wise, everything's going to be done through modules. Homework will be done through modules. You'll see module 0, 1, and 2 are listed to kind of start. The getting started piece is going to be doing some introductions, a quick survey, because we're online. I need to know a little bit about you and how we can make sure we're maintaining good communication. And then a little bit about the STEM Learning Centers, a short quiz about them. Again, these are all very, very basic stuff just to kind of get you off on the right foot. How do you submit things in PDF? How do you take quizzes? How do you do discussion boards? Again, very quick, not meant to be challenging at all. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, I have a little bit here on introductions. So I'd like you to introduce yourself to everybody else. I'll lead it off by making an introduction video, and everybody else will do the same below. And then, yeah, I want you to go reply to people like 5 times. Go say hi to people. Say hello. They're going to be in this group for a while, at least for the next 17 weeks. Make sure in Canvas you kind of click the next button, I believe. Everybody should see that next button down there. I'm going to ask you to watch a couple short talks. One is about the power of believing you can improve, and the other one's about how to make stress your friend. Kind of go through them shortly. I asked you to kind of post something on a discussion board about those. Give you some information about college services, and then I'm going to ask you about expectations. And expectations tie into the syllabus. If you haven't been in Canvas before, Canvas has a nice little link over to the syllabus, and you can jump over here and kind of see what's going on. So the syllabus document is at the top. I'm going to attach it to my intro announcement, but if you click on that, it will show you the entire syllabus. You can always minimize the file preview or download a copy if you prefer, but everything is in here for you. The college has a lot of things they want me to put in there, so I made sure that they're all included. I've also included how I make contact with students. So it's a reasonably long document, but I hope you'll take the time to at least go over it and kind of highlight a few things that you feel are super important. Here's the expectations portion. And then as you scroll down, I wanted to kind of point out a couple pieces. There's official information about our textbook, calculators, my office hours, any accommodations or accessibility. I do have some student responsibility portion. Again, this is taken from the student handbook and what is expected of you as a student. So read over those. I did put a couple pieces in there that I think are extremely helpful. Canvas will show what is your official name in SURF. If you prefer a different name, I've put a link in here that says, hey, go change it. It takes like 3 seconds for you to go change that name, and then it will show up as a preferred name, and everyone else will just call you the name you prefer, because that's all that we will see. So take an opportunity to do that very quick. Let's see here. What else do we have here? All of my grading is in green colored boxes. So if you want to know something about the grade, some people want to jump to it, boom, hit the green. So jump to the green. You'll see everything that we have going on for the classes in green, unit quizzes, homework sets. I'm trying something this term called late passes. They're going to be integrated with the homework sets. And the idea is this. Look, it's uncomfortable for you to have to come back to me and say, oh, I was sick on this day, or I didn't have internet, or something happened. Sometimes you want to keep some of the private things to yourself. So here's what we're going to do. You don't have to do any of those things. If life gets in the way, I'm going to give you a chunk of late passes. And if you're a day late, you click, you use 1 late pass. If you're 3 days late, you click, you use 3 late passes. Every late pass is 1 day. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's got a little bit here about the midterms. This is the one time for midterms, I don't do late stuff on midterms because I have to grade them, get them back to you so we can continue moving on. That's the one time. But if something happens, if you can see something coming in the future, contact me immediately and we might be able to schedule something on a different date. But again, for late exams, I kind of have that little piece there. People usually ask about extra credit. I don't give extra credit in the class because I'm looking for understanding. And extra credit's like, I didn't understand that piece, but I can show you how to understand something else that may not really be related. I'm supposed to teach a set of objectives, and I want you to demonstrate that you understand those. But on the final exam, I'll probably waffle a little bit. So for example, I might put 210 points on the exam and score you out of 200. So in a sense, you can kind of take your pick on a couple pieces on the final exam. Course objectives are kind of in a yellow, along with the student learning outcomes and the core competencies. All right, so we are focusing on quantitative literacy and problem solving. So we want to link those back to intellectual and practical skills. What do I need when I encounter problems in the real world? I put in a page about how to study math, things that have helped me and other students. A bunch of other resources. Again, if you haven't been here before, click on that student service guide. Huge, tons of resources there for students at MiraCosta. It's got tutoring, health services, care resources, and finally, I've got a schedule of topics, which again, some people like to jump to. You want to jump to it? Go here. So since we're online, August 22nd, we start. I got to see you doing something. So complete the introduction modules. That's that little pack at the beginning. And then after that, we'll kind of start working through the different sections. So we've got about 7 sections before test 1. And then we've got 8 sections for test 2. And if you keep scrolling, test 3 is a little bit shorter because it's kind of a smorgasbord there of topics. Only 5 sections on test 3. And then we have 4 additional topics in chapter 10. And that kind of Thanksgiving's kind of in the middle of that. So it didn't make it perfect for an exam. So I decided not to have a strict 4th exam. I felt like that's also stressful to have an exam, then 1 day back, and then the final. I never liked that as a student. So what I'm going to do is the final will cover all sections, but I am going to emphasize a little bit the stuff that we haven't tested over yet. And you can even see the bonus coverage. I'm adding 2 days of bonus coverage, things that are not technically in the course outline, but I personally think you would be better off knowing them as you move forward. Okay. All right, let's jump back and make sure. I think I've hit almost everything for the course. Remember, you do have to purchase the book. I sent the email out about that. It's listed at the bookstore. You can buy it online. $45 if you just want the code. Perfectly fine if you just have the code. It will give you ebook and homework access. If you want a printed book, I don't know how they do it, but somehow they give you a printed book for $68, which is just $23 more than the base price. An entire printed textbook for $23. Whatever, super cheap in my mind. If you want that printed textbook, go for it. And basically the series that I chose for this has a pre-calc 1 built into the book. So if you take a look at the book, the first few chapters should look very familiar. We're not starting with the first few chapters. We're going to start in chapter 5. Okay, so just make sure you understand that. Otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon, and have a great rest of your week.